Hi there, Kira here with another scrapbook layout process video, this time for ink road stamps. This is for Feature Friday and we were asked to use a stamp set which is called Bloom Where You Are Planted. I'll link everything down below, so if you're interested in purchasing the stamp set, you'll know where to find it. So what I did to start with was I used, you saw me pointing to those little kind of daisy flowers, and I just used two of those, or those two stamps, and I stamped them in kind of a monochromatic color scheme. So I used kind of like a minty color, a teal, and then this navy blue color. And I stamped them on textured white cardstock and on vellum, so it's kind of a mixture of textures there. And my plan was to kind of layer them on my paper where my title is going to go. So I have my title over there to the right hand side, and I just cut that out on white textured cardstock using my Cricut. And my title is going to be #PondLife. And the story behind this picture, so you see, if you saw this picture of a duck, we have these ducks at our pond, and I had never seen ducks like this before I moved to Texas. We don't have ducks like this in Washington, or maybe we do, but I've never seen them. But they have these ridiculously long legs, like way longer than a typical duck's legs. And so we're at the pond and we go quite often, and I said to Fish, I was like, look at that duck, and I pointed to this duck with these super long legs, and he says to me, he goes, "That's not a duck, that's a mingo," which is what he calls flamingos. And I just thought it was funny because, flamingos have long legs, and that's clearly what he thought this was, because it had these longer than normal duck legs. So that's what the story to this page is, and why I am scrapbooking a picture of a duck. So the title, #PondLife, that's just because we go visit the pond like every day. It's right next to the playground park that we go to, so we just go and visit the ducks too. And I just bumped that up on some foam, so I just used some craft foam and glued that, so that's already attached to my title, so that's why it looks like it's a little bit dimensional, because it is. And I'm just laying down my letters where I think they look good. I used just a tiny bit of glue behind my flowers to make them stick, because I did kind of like the effect of the petals kind of curling up on the vellum when you put the glue on it. So yeah, I had just added a little bit of texture to the page that way. So that's pretty much how my layout's going to look right now. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down these letters, but I don't make you watch that part because that would be boring. I just put a little bit of glue down on the foam and glued them where I wanted them. So I'm really liking how that's looking, but I feel like it needs more. It's a little plain, right? So I had stamped out these leaves, which is also on this stamp set, and I had stamped out just a few of them, I think like 8 leaves in this kind of sagey green color. And I didn't fussy cut them before I started this process because I didn't know if I wanted to use the leaves or not, and I didn't know if I wanted them in that color or what I wanted to do. So I kind of waited until I had this part of the layout made, and then I made my decision. So I fussy cut one out, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks kind of cute. It adds a little bit more dimension and texture by kind of tucking these leaves into the word, and I really liked the way that it looks. So I ended up fussy cutting them all out, and I'm just gonna kind of tuck them underneath and in between the letters, and I think it ends up looking really cute like that. So I just add a little bit of glue to each of them to make sure they stay in place, but kept them kind of bent up, so it did still maintain that dimension that I like. And so I'm really liking how it's looking now. I think it looks really cute, and I think it ties in well with the photo I have. So I'm going to put the photo right here, and the only reason I decided to put it there was because the duck is looking off to the right, so I wanted to put him on the left hand side so it looks like he's looking over on the page, I guess. And then I had saved a couple of the flowers and kind of placed them over to the side because I knew I wanted to place some behind the photo. So once I have the photo kind of where I want it, I put the flowers kind of tucked underneath the photo, pick it back up, and then I'm just gluing all of these little flowers down. And once I get those all glued down, I will put my photo down, glue my photo down. And I thought it was still a little white, so I decided to add some splatters to the page. And I did that by just taking one of the stamp pads that I used, the teal stamp pad that I used for the flowers, and I just mixed that with a little bit of water and just kind of splattered tiny splatters kind of all along the title and above the photo. Basically anywhere the flowers were is where I added splatters. And I'll do that in a minute. I'm just gluing my photo down. I've found with my photos, I buy the ATG tape, the off-brand ATG tape, which works fine, but sometimes if I have like too many embellishments on my photo, the photo ends up falling off the page. So, and this happens after I hang them on my wall. So if you've seen my room tour, you see that I hang my layouts after I'm done with them. I hang them on my wall. And if I hang them on the wall, then the photo ends up falling off like 50% of the time. So I've been adding ATG tape plus a little bit of wet glue, not too much so it warps my page, but just a little bit. So that's why I had the double adhesive there, I guess. So then I wanted to embellish the page, obviously. I need a little bit of embellishments. And so I grabbed out from the Pick Me Up collection, I grabbed out basically anything that had that monochromatic color scheme. So if it had the teal or the blue or the navy or the mint, I just stuck it on my page. There's a lot of pieces in the collection that have multiple of the colors, and I tried to stay away from that because I didn't want to add in another color at this point. I just wanted to stick with the ones that I had. It just makes it a little bit easier. And then that little swan is actually from the Dear Lizzie collection. What's that called? Anyways, it's from the new Dear Lizzie collection, and I just thought it was cute because it was a swan. I mean, it's not a duck, but it's close enough, right? It's a waterfowl. So I decided to stick that right by my page. And then I have these little chipboard pieces from the Pick Me Up collection. One says smile and the other one says laugh. And then a couple stickers from the Pick Me Up collection. One says definitely and the other one says believe. And I just thought they kind of fit with the cute little story of my son saying it was a mingo. And I'm only gluing those stickers down. The stickers are plenty sticky enough, but I've unstuck those ones so many times and thought about using them on pages so many times that they've kind of lost their stickiness. So I was just adding some additional glue just to make sure that they didn't fall off the page. So I typed out my journaling. Sorry if you can hear my kids. I typed out my journaling and I'm just going to stick it right underneath the title, and the story is exactly what I told you guys, that Jonathan said it was a mingo. And once I get that glued down, I think that's about it. The only thing, I did add a date stamp, and I added that in the teal instead of typical black like I usually do. I added it in teal stamping. But then once I get the journaling down, my layout is done. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to check out Ink Road Stamps and see all the new stamps that have come out recently. And I will see you soon for another layout process video. You guys have a great day. Bye.